Hello there. Welcome back to Empower Your Soul. Shall we talk about psychic readings today? Because this has come up over and over again too. And I'm loving my dear Sarah over on Instagram that is messaging me all of these things and really making me think about psychic energy and psychic messages and what the flaws are with that. And I realize I haven't really talked about psychic too much on this podcast. So let's freaking go into it because it's a lot. It's a lot. So when I talk about psychic readings, excuse me, I want to talk about what this is. So psychic energy is typically person to person, and it tends to be reading the energy of the other person. So this is not connecting to departed loved ones. This is not connecting to souls on the other side, your guides, Akashic records. It's none of that. It's me connecting to your soul. And the way that I like to equate it when I'm kind of teaching my beginners classes is that psychic energy kind of feels like a fog. It's very, very low vibration. It is definitely here in, I'm going to say, the physical world. And I know that you can read dead people psychically. I'm not going to go there for this. I'm going to keep this like person to person, as in two people that are alive, me reading you as an alive person here in this world. And so these are just really cool readings for me to essentially tap into your energy and see what's going on and give you direction and guidance. And I know that a lot of people love psychic readings, like love them, love them, love them. And I know personally what keeps happening in my head is I'm seeing my friend that goes to a psychic reader who does it via tarot, because there's all different ways to read psychic energy. But she does it via tarot, and they go once a year, and they just go for shits and giggles to get all of the readings done. And I'm laughing in my head because what I'm seeing is how accurate these readings can be. And I think that is a key for psychic readings is a lot of people are going to them for, I'm going to say, validation, number one, and then like, I want to say direction and guidance, but it tends to be more of a predictive modality. A lot of people go to psychics to say what's going to happen. And it's not necessarily what do I need to do. And I know some of that comes out too, but most of the people are going for relationships, for validation, and for future predictions for the most part. Again, exceptions to every rule. And a lot of these psychic readers, again, are going to either read the energy, they're going to use tarot cards, they might do, aura readings, or they might call it quote unquote like intuitive counseling, but it tends to just be reading your energy. And so it's really interesting because just like mediumship, it can be done in person, over the phone. It could be like any of these different things. And I would say psychic readings are probably what a lot of people are most familiar with. Lord knows I was outside my son's soccer practice the other day, and wasn't there a freaking psychic reader across the street, right? Like they're everywhere. Everyone can read psychic energy. And I think everyone can read psychic energy because it's a lot like our intuition. It comes in a lot like our intuition. It comes in these like intuitive nudges. Those of us that are, I'm going to say, a little more trained or have practiced a little more, it comes in through the clairs. It can come in through, your clear seeing, hearing, feeling, etc. And so it's just really interesting because most people can do psychic work. And when I say that, what I mean is this feeling, and again, I think this was on the podcast, of when a bad guy walks in a room, or when you walk into a room and the energy just sucks and you're like, oh my God, what happened? That's what I'm talking about. If you go to Gettysburg, right, here in the United States, that energy, that feeling of being like, you just feel it. You feel the battlefield energy when you're there. So it's just, again, it's picking up on the energy of what is going on around you. And that everyone can do that. And so that's essentially what psychic kind of is picking up on the energy, but now you're just like laser beaming it to the specific person who wants the reading. So this can look a bunch of different ways for people. A lot of people will do tarot spreads where, you're just kind of picking up what's on the card and reading into the energy of those cards and reading into the energy of the person and trying to get information. Could be just me sitting across from you and getting the information too. But what it tends to look like, ooh, I love it. my team's telling me to do like an x-ray view for you so you can get this, because everyone knows you just sit down, that person talks to you. Like as a sitter, as someone receiving the reading, you don't really know what's going on. You're just like, okay, they're going to give me information, right? But me as the reader, what I do is I'll kind of go through your energy. I'll kind of feel around. I might check and feel how your aura is feeling. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling bad? Right. And that's actually what I do in a lot of the beginning of my readings anyway, is I'll just check in with you and see how you doing. Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Are you stressed? And that, me personally, I use psychic energy a lot just to check in at the beginning of a reading to say, is there anything I need to address so that you can show up as your best self for this reading? And I love that for psychic energy. That's definitely the way to approach it. And I think that's what a lot of people do. But as you go through like a true psychic reading, they will keep going, right? They will keep pulling information out of you. And that's what psychic energy is. It's like going in and pulling energy out, kind of like strand by strand, and seeing what's the story here. What does this look like? And again, it shows up in like the clairs typically. So, there's two different readings. I'm spitballing it here. My team is giving me all this information on what to go where. And I want to go in two different directions. So if you go to a psychic reader and you have specific questions in mind, that's actually your best bet. Okay? Because they can hone in on specific relationship information, career information, family feedback, health, etc. So they can actually, what's cool about psychic energy is you can go wherever you want. It's all available for the taking, but you have to go and reach for it. And you have to like set the intention of which one am I reading. So they might go into relationships, pull that information out and give you a story about the relationship. Just like all readings, it will probably be more broad. And as you give yeses, it will get more specific, hopefully. Sometimes some readings are very, very specific. Sometimes it's very broad. Again, it all depends on what kind of information is available. We as the readers tend to not have control over what is coming in, which is very interesting. But I would recommend, if you are going for a psychic reading, have your list of questions, have what you want to talk about, right? Versus if you just go to a psychic reader and you're just like, I'm just seeing what I'm going to get today. What will most likely happen is they will pull the easiest information for you, which might not be anything that you want to hear. Okay. And in addition, nope, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to go into the next one. So there's pluses and minuses to each of these, right? So the pluses with psychic energy is it tends to be a mirror for what's going on currently in your life, right? It can be really good to really help you assess what's going on, what's the current energy, how am I feeling about it, maybe where is that energy coming from? So it's really good just to say, like, currently in my present body, what's going on? What's my physical being, what's going on? Where it falls flat is that it is not this amazing, unbiased information that comes from the spirit world, right? Because if I'm connecting to your departed loved ones, I am not connecting to your energy at all. I'm going to let your departed loved ones tell me what's important. What are we talking about? Where are we going? What's the information I need to share with you? And it's the same with the Akashic records, right? You might come in with a specific question, but all the information comes from them. It's unbiased. It's from a neutral party. Psychic energy is not a neutral party. Psychic energy comes with the biases of us as humans. So really good example, and thanks Sarah. I don't hope you don't mind me naming you. I'm not giving you your screen name, but Sarah over on Instagram was talking about how deflated she's been over psychic readings and how she takes them with a grain of salt. And I yes, please take it with a grain of salt, right? And we'll talk about that. But what happens is she would go to a psychic reader who would tell her that she's getting together with her ex-boyfriend, right? What's with your ex? What's with your ex? What's with your ex, right? So naturally, probably the first time she went to this reading, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, your ex was probably on your mind. And because it's on your mind, that psychic reader probably went into your energy and felt the vibration of an ex-boyfriend because it was on your mind, because it's the easiest information, the easiest vibration to grab, because you're probably thinking about it over and over again. And they took that strand and they pulled it and they said, tell me more, because that is what is on your mind, right? And then what happens, because that is the most prevalent thing on her mind, is now she's thinking about it, right? Now she's thinking about getting back together with her ex, right? And they'll tell you what they want to tell you. I'm sorry, they do. But they'll tell you like, oh, you're going to get back together with him. Oh, all these different things. They'll read into the energy and read into the potential of being, back with your ex, right? So then what happens is now Sarah is thinking about her ex. Now she's thinking, my ex is going to get back together with me. Heck yeah. And then I'm just hypothetically speaking, days, months, years, not years, days, weeks, months go by. And she's like, my ex hasn't shown up yet. What's going on? So she'll go to a psychic reader. She'll go to a different psychic reader. And she'll be like, tell me about my relationships. And you know what? Because she's been thinking about it. Because she's expecting the ex to come back. And she's waiting for it. What do you think that reader picks up on? That's right. The energy that she's thinking about, the energy that's in her field. Now this psychic will say, hey, I'm seeing your ex here. Hey, I'm seeing that he's going to come back. And as Sarah continues to get these readings, God, isn't that proof, right? Don't I have all of these different psychic readers all saying the same thing, all giving the same information about how I'm going to get back to my ex? And hey, multiple people said it. It has to be true. But the reality of the situation is, as she goes to more readers and as more readers pick up on that energy that's already at the surface, they're going to essentially have this like self-fulfilling prophecy of readers that are going to continue to give her more and more and more of the same of what she expects. And this is the problem with psychic energy, especially if people are untrained in the psychic. And I feel like it's like, I'm sorry, it is, no disrespect for anyone that is a psychic reader, but it is like the entry level version of like, I'm going to say spirit communication, even though it's energy and it's person to person, but it is the entry level communication. And like, it's totally valid. And if you're trained in this, I love this, but people who are untrained can't tell the difference between what's a thought, what's going on in my head, or how am I feeling versus what's reality. And the problem is a lot of people are going to these psychic readers and they are just a mirror for what is going on in your energy, like I said. So if you are thinking about your ex, they're going to pick up on that and give you that back to you, right? It does not mean that the reading is accurate or the ex is coming back. It just means that you're thinking about the ex. And I think a lot of people don't understand this about psychic energy. And I think that's why a lot of people feel this work is bullshit. They feel like they're charlatans in this work because people are untrained in these methods. And that's why I don't offer psychic readings, everybody. I only talk to the neutral parties because I know how complicated that energy is. I know how difficult it is to pull apart someone's thought patterns versus what's the reality of it. And to be honest with you, I don't trust myself to be able to tell it apart all the time, so I don't do it. And if you're one of those readers that can, I freaking love that. That's amazing, right? But that's why I rely on those neutral third parties, the guides, the loved ones, the Akashic records to give the information because I know it's coming from an unbiased source. So this is the problem with a lot of psychic readings. And I know I'm overly simplifying this because there's so much complexity again to the psychic work, and that's totally valid, totally fair. But I want you to go in with that perspective. And what is rolling around in my head now is my friend who I would go to lots of these psychic fairs with, and she never understood it. And she was the one who introduced me to mediumship, by the way. She's the one who said, hey, go to this woman. She's amazing. And I was like, oh, I've only ever watched it on TV. So she's actually the one who really like opened the door for me. So thank you, girl. But what she always told me is that when I went to mediums, they were always accurate every time. They would talk about, not only would they give evidence of the departed loved one and messages, right? But the messages in the predictions and the feedback and like the health things, they would always come true. And she's like, why was that so accurate? But when I went to go to get a psychic reading, it was so muddy and inaccurate. And I had to explain the difference to her. I had to explain that the psychic energy is reading your energy, and your energy is probably really muddy, and your energy is, and she's like a brick wall energetically. And I love her. And it's very hard for people to get through and be able to decipher. And that's why that information was always wrong or always not clear or always not great. So I want you to kind of check in with that The problem I think with a lot of people is that you can't really tell the difference because 99% of mediums are actually psychics. Yep. They pull your departed loved one's energy, advice, feedback from you. Isn't that interesting? Because you can be a very, very good reader. You can definitely go into someone's energy and ask, tell me about mom. And all of that information that's stored in your energy, your auric field, all about mom, about everything you know, who she was, what her personality was, how much money she had in the bank, right? Like how she wanted to die, where she's buried, all of that's in you, right? So very good psychics can go into you and do what looks like a freaking amazing mediumship reading. And until you're versed and you can feel the energetic difference like I can on are they pulling that psychically or are they pulling that from mediumship? It's very hard to differentiate the two. And I'm going to give you this green flag. It's not a red flag if you don't have it, but it is a green flag if you do see it. So if this doesn't happen to you, it doesn't mean it's not mediumship. But if they give you information that you can't place, that would not be in your energy field or your knowledge field, that is mediumship. That's like a really basic, easy way to say it. So if there's something that you're like, have we all had a reading where maybe not, a medium pulls maybe a grandfather that died before you were born, for example, and they'll give evidence that you're like, I have no idea. I'll write it down. I'll take it. And then you go to like maybe your mom and you're like, hey mom, was this true? Was this about, did my grandfather do this? And then she says yes. That's something that's not in your energy field. That's not something a psychic can just pull out. So that's your green flag for mediumship. If you have to go somewhere else to validate the information, that's mediumship. Again, green flag if you see it, not necessarily a red flag if you don't, because sometimes you're best friends with people and they're only going to give you information that you know, right? And that's okay too. So hang on a second. Where am I going with this? So red flags with psychic energy is be wary. Like get them. If you love getting your tarot card spread, like freaking do it. I love it. Follow your passions, follow your heart. So if you love psychic readings or getting tarot readings, do it. I absolutely encourage you to do it. Do not let that reading make decisions for you. Okay. Like don't make decisions based on, this thing's like, these are the lottery numbers, right? Who would do that? This is a sure thing and do this, like that's going to be a dead end for you. Do not make decisions based on the information that comes from these sessions. Now, should you take it and maybe mull it over, think about it, balance it with other information? Absolutely. Absolutely. But really, these should be more for entertainment purposes, connections, giving perspectives. Like that is absolutely what you should be taking these for. But, and like just kind of opening you up to maybe new energies, new perspectives. Like I think that is so key. And so use it as such, right? Think of it as like therapy without the PhD, right? That's essentially what these things are. So it's really for introspection and reflection. Again, it's a mirror, but set reasonable expectations about what you're going to walk away with, because nothing's going to be 100% accurate. Certainly if they talk about the word curses, fucking run for the hills, right? And be skeptical about the information that you receive. If you feel like it's real, cool, but don't take it at word value from the person. So again, the reading is input, not the absolute truth or not the absolute path ahead. So I hope that really helps for all of you. Let me see if there's anything else I'm supposed to be saying. Nope, they're giving me the okay sign in my head. So perfect. So I hope that was super helpful. Again, continue to do it. I will probably continue to get my psychic and tarot readings done because I love them so much and I think they are really good for reflection. But yeah, I don't make decisions off of them. So there you go. I hope you all have a wonderful day and I'm going to send you positive psychic vibes. Okay. Take care, everyone.